more about that. Go ahead and get the recording going. So I'll do like another short entry again, and then I'll introduce you, and we'll get into some questions. So again, I appreciate you for taking your time. So
No
Jared with
problem.
Mad Collectives. I have Coach Fleck here with me, the swimming coach for Fresno State, and we're here, providing a platform for parents, athletes, families that are navigating through the sports world, recruiting world, and looking for, any type of guidance or, any type of stories or any support that can help them with wherever they are in their journey. So, like I mentioned, I have Coach Fleck with me from Fresno State University, swimming coach. I want to say you started with Fresno in 2008. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, I
Okay.
started the program 17 years ago. So
Okay.
we had dropped the swimming program and then they brought it back. So I started the program from scratch. I had zero swimmers in May of 2008 and had to have a whole team by August.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. I have a list of questions, but I like to go off the flow as well. So, can you give us a little bit about that? I'm in a similar instance, not so much at that level of organization, but I have a team that I manage as well, like a baseball team, and I can kind of relate like having to start with nothing, literally an idea of the team, of the organization, and then slowly building it to have players, and now the players and parents are seeing the development and seeing some of the success. So it's starting to get really exciting. So can you give me a little background about, what that looked like starting it from scratch, from zero?
Yeah, I mean, I got here in May and I had no one. So, I mean, I went to the PE classes and asked people from the PE classes if they wanted to swim. I went to the local clubs, really worked with the local clubs a lot around here. Our USA Swimming Clubs, Clovis Swim Club, Fresno Dolphins, even Fig Garden, and said, who do you have? What do you think? Do you have some seniors that didn't get picked up that are, going to go to junior college. I had a young lady that was going to go to junior college and I convinced her to come swim for me. She's still coaching, she's
Oh,
coaching down in Southern California. So, uh,
nice.
my that first class was haphazard. It was a bunch of, girls that were just really proud to represent Fresno State, and they just couldn't believe that they were Division One swimmers and were getting that opportunity. And I just built it from there slowly and methodically. I made sure that I had my mission statement, my, vision for the program and my core values. And I did not wane. I didn't take fast girls just to take fast girls. I made sure that they were going to fit in with my coaching and the way that I did it. And I've grown a lot in the 17 years that I've been here. I mean, this is my 37th year in Division One coaching. So
Blessing.
I've been a Division One coach my whole life, or my whole coaching career. So I kind of knew where I wanted to go and how I wanted to build it. And it's been a slow process. We still haven't won a conference championship. We want to win. But we have gotten better in every conference. We've moved conferences, a couple times. In every conference, we've moved up. We start at the bottom, we moved our way up, and now we're in the top three, and now we're
Nice.
looking to try to win. But I've done it the right way with the right type of girls and making sure that they're going to be strong, independent women and going to go out into the world and do great things. That is my number one reason why I coach. So if I keep that and I make sure that they're that, then I think that we're going to be successful.
Nice. Nice. That's good insight. I'm learning a lot from a lot of like high level coaches that's one of the things that they focus on is making sure that they build the complete person and not, focus too much on like sports and the competitive side. Like I feel like that's just a byproduct of being a good person and showing up every day, putting your best foot forward. So that's a a good
Yeah, I
take.
mean, we're having our goal meetings right now, and we don't talk about swimming pretty much.
No.
Like I find out what brings them joy in our sport,
Hmm.
how what does failure look like to them? Is their relationship with failure? What is a good coach, like a good what is the question I should just look at what the question is. I stole it from somebody else, but like, what does support look like and sound like, and what doesn't it look like and sound like? You have to learn those things so that you can coach the person.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. So this past season, brought a Coach of the Year honors and multiple NCAA qualifiers. So what clicked, culturally for your program and competitively? What was something that you could speak
Oh,
on
I
about
know
last
I know
season?
exactly what it was. We had 10 seniors last year,
Okay.
and they started with us.
Mm,
No one quit. No one no one left, no one transferred. And so I started with 10 freshmen and I graduated 10 seniors.
I mean,
And that was the culture. They were the change in our program. And
mm,
they were none of the girls that made NC2As, but
mm,
they are the reason that we were successful. And they believed in me, the process, the program, and they told everyone that came in that this is the way it is, this is
mm,
what we want, this is where we're going, and we're getting there. And that clicked, and
nice.
so all my NCAA qualifiers are coming back.
Mm,
I had one girl transfer at semester her freshman year. She just knew that it wasn't the right fit, and that happens.
all right.
But I don't have kids leaving my program, and I'm sure that's going to change with the culture that we have right now of looking for the best deal or looking for that.
Right.
But I want them to buy into being a Fresno State Bulldog, and their best friends are here, and I want to make it literally impossible for them to want to leave.
Nice. Sounds like a strong family culture. That's
Yeah,
impressive to have 10 athletes start as freshmen and then still a freshman and still, be together all the way through their senior year. So sounds like a very strong team culture.
it is.
It's
And
good.
and I give my team a lot of credit for that because they're so close, and they let people have their own friends, their own, they don't all live together, but
Right.
they are so bonded that
Hmm.
I don't think a girl really wants to leave that, you know? So that's really important. And that's what I think we're losing right now is that parents and kids are thinking it's going to be the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and it's not. And we have a saying here. We have the three R's: respect, responsibility, and resilience. And if you're not resilient, if you can't get through some hard times, then you're not going to be successful no matter where you go. So, not everything's going to be rosy all the time. It's just, we've got to realize that Instagram is not the way life is.
Right. It's all highlight reels.
Yes.
No, that's good. I definitely can vouch for that.
Yeah.
And so just going into the coaching culture, diving into a little bit more. So what are some non-negotiables you reinforce daily as far as like practice habits, communication, academic focus? What are some non-negotiables you have for your team and squad?
Well, academics is number one.
Mhm.
We had 12 4.0s last year.
Nice.
So
Congratulations. That's big.
yeah, our GPA was at 3.6. So,
Uh,
and my negotiable is being looking in the mirror and being able to be honest to yourself and your teammates, um, respecting yourself first, and then your teammates, and then your coaches, then everyone. Because if you can't be honest with yourself and you can't respect yourself, those are non-negotiables because you're not going to respect me. You're not going to be honest with me. And I need honesty. That is probably in respect. And I got to earn respect, but you have to give it a little bit at the beginning to
Right.
to get that. Um, I like people to be on time. They can't come in late. Unless they have class or something like that. We have a couple things that just have to do with swimming, like we don't breathe inside the flags. We don't, we put our head down and we get in. Um, those are some non-negotiables with me that I'll get really mad at people for. That's probably the only thing I get really mad at is when you do something dumb. You're not listening, or I'm not going to get mad because you had a bad day. I'm going to get mad if you're just not responsive or
Mhm.
doing things.
And giving that effort. I know that's
Yeah,
it.
I
That's a
mean,
little.
and even when you're having a bad day, you broke up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever, so then think about your underwaters, think about your technique, think about something and get something out of this practice.
So, getting into a little bit of like the coaching and performance side of things. So, how do you individualize training for event groups while maintaining a unified team identity? Or how do you,
So
yeah, individualize training? Yeah.
yeah, so we're having these meetings. So I'm meeting with every single girl on our team and we're going
Mhm.
through and they have a time to talk and say what they want. We give them a practice schedule. So
Mhm.
our training is crazy. So on every day you're in a different group. So like Mondays you may be in the butterfly group, Tuesday you may be in the sprint group, Wednesday everyone's together and we recover together. Thursday you're in the distance group or you're going off the block. Friday morning we're all together again. Friday afternoon, we're all together, and Saturday, we're all together. So there are days that we individualize. And then when we get closer to our conference meet, we really individualize. So we'll go Thursday, our Thursday events, because in swimming, we have a 3-day meet. Okay. And so on Thursday, you swim the 50 free, the 200 IM, and the 500 free. So on Thursdays, those are your training groups. On Friday, we swim different events, the hundreds of strokes, the 200 free, the 400 IM. So then you go into those different groups. So I really try to keep it fresh and try to keep it really moving. And there's always moving parts. We have some sprinters that don't come in Friday morning, that they're going to sleep in, because they need more rest. They need more pop. So they're going to do a fourth day in the weight room, you know. Some of my sprinters don't want to do that. So they're going to stay with the group on Friday morning. I really let them kind of talk to me and tell me why they want to do something. And if there's a reason why, and I can help them do that, then I'll do it.
That's nice. I like how you work with the athletes and allow them to give that feedback because that's one thing that I learned, just playing and coaching. Like, no two athletes are the same,
Right.
and I feel like that's important to be able to get that feedback because what works for somebody may not work for the next athlete, and vice versa. So I like that. I like how you're incorporating that feedback and allowing them to kind of tailor their schedule to what needs or what their body needs and what their performance needs. So that's pretty cool.
Especially my seniors. I mean, they're 21 years old. They've probably been swimming 15 years,
Right.
and so they really do know their bodies, and you got to really adjust. We have a transfer that came in this year who's a senior, and she's going to grad school and she got second in NCAAs last year. So, I'm going to work with her. I'm going to talk to her because what she did at her last school was amazing and she did amazing things. And now I need to keep that going, and so we need to communicate and talk and figure out what's good and what worked and what we can get better at.
Nice, nice. So, what's your favorite coaching checkpoint that you use mid-season to keep athletes healthy and progressing?
Gosh, that's a hard question.
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll have meetings again. We'll
Okay.
sit down and I have one-on-ones with everybody. And we have a mid-season meet. We have two of them really. We have one in November, and then some of our better swimmers will go to the US Open as well. And so we'll do a checkpoint and look and see, okay, well, this doesn't seem to be working. Something's wrong because this did not work. So we'll sit down with those athletes and say, okay, where do we need? Are we overtraining? Are we undertraining? Is the weight room beating you down? Where do we need to go from here and try to figure that out? So just communication is that's all it is. If you communicate it and athletes are kind of scared and they want to do it by text. I don't let them do it by text. They got to come sit in a meeting in my office and chat, and it's really relaxed. I mean, I ask crazy questions. My upperclassmen, the first question I asked them this week was, how did you get your name? Like, tell me the story of your name, because I want them to be more relaxed and be able to open up and talk. I can't hear you,
Sorry.
Jared.
Okay, I'm
That's all
sorry. I had
right.
my mic muted. But no, I feel like that's good. I feel like, especially nowadays with the generation being so involved in tech, and even myself, I still have to push myself out of my comfort zone to, make sure I'm talking and communicating. But I feel like that's big now because a lot of athletes, that's all they want to do, just text and message, email, and then whenever
Yeah.
it comes time to talk and communicate in person, or even just to talk on camera, I feel like sometimes they aren't able to do it. So I feel like that's a good practice to have and just reinforce. All
Yeah.
right. So I'm sorry.
Go
What was
ahead.
that?
Oh, nothing. I was agreeing with you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Well, I ask a few more questions. I'll get more into recruiting and NIL. Again, I keep it general. Don't want to cross any guidelines or any compliance issues. But if you're able to, what qualities signal a recruit will thrive at either the collegiate level or Division I level, either athletically, academically, or culturally? So, what are some qualities that you would say represent an athlete?
I would say, their improvement. I'm looking at, their line. I don't even care if they just started swimming. We have a young lady on our team that walked on, and we took her because she's just improved so much in the last 2 years and just is so eager to improve. So when they come to campus, that's when I really do my dig in on their personalities. If they're on their phone the whole time, they're not talking and engaging, then we're going to have some issues. The biggest thing is I've stopped recruiting someone that I've seen at a swim meet like yell at their parents or treat their parents really poorly. Then that if they can't, they're not going to treat their parents well, they're not going to treat me well, so that character is a really big thing. We do look at social media a little bit. I try not to because I just don't understand some of what they're doing on Instagram. I don't, I like my reels. I have fun doing those, but I really want to get to know them personally and sit down and be able to talk to me in my office, and if they struggle with that, that's okay too, but know that they want to talk or, that kind of thing. So character and improvement, and maybe knowing your body, like in swimming, it's so feel oriented. Do they have a good technique in the water? If someone doesn't have the basic technique, if they can't catch in the beginning of a stroke, they're going to be hard to recruit because you can't teach that. It needed to be taught when they started swimming.
I feel like swimming is like a muscle memory sport. Am
Yeah.
I correct? That's kind of how baseball is, where it's just a lot of repetition and
It is a lot of
trying.
repetition, but it's also a feel. So
Okay.
I I don't know. It's a different because you're buoyant in the water and you have to know what your hand and your leg and how they're working together, your hand and your hip and your so there's this relationship, it is kind of like baseball because a pitcher, like if you think about a pitcher, their hips and their arms, they've got to time that well.
Right.
That's what swimming's like.
Okay.
You've got to have that muscle memory, but it has to
The
be the
chain.
right muscle
Right.
memory.
Has to have that chain of energy. I like that. I like that. And
Yeah.
I'm a fan of swimming. I never competed. I've always enjoyed just watching other athletes compete, and of course, the world famous Michael Phelps. He was really a person that heightened swimming fans, but.
Yes.
No, I attempted when I was younger and I got blew out by a lot of other guys and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to baseball and basketball because it's fun. I love, taking a dip in the pool when it's hot, but competitively, there's some people out
Oh,
there that can move.
my lights just
I
went
know.
out. Can you still see
I
me?
know. Yes, yes, I can still see you.
Okay.
All right, so I'll give a
Oh,
couple
there we
more
go.
questions and then I'll let you get out of here. So I know you talked about communicating a lot. So for high schools and transfers, how can they communicate well with staff without overdoing it? So what are one or some tips or recommendations you give to high schoolers or individuals wanting to transfer and communicating but not overdoing it and not
Right. I mean,
overselling themselves?
it's hard for transfers, but I mean, when you get an email and you're interested, you got to get back to them right away.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And and that's fine. I do better if you just keep getting back to me because
Okay.
maybe I don't know enough about you. If you're maybe not fast enough, I might not answer the email because it's I get too many of them or whatever.
All right.
But so it's not that I am ghosting you or whatever that word is. I don't even know, that's not in my vocabulary. But
Mhm.
if a swimmer isn't fast enough, we're not going to reach out to them. So they're going to email us now. If a swimmer's right on the cusp and they really, really want to come, then just keep emailing me, keep letting me know the updates, keep giving that feedback, and I'll finally get to them, because I'll feel bad. This person's emailed me like three
Mhm.
times. And so then I get back to them and I say, well, let's have a call. Let's really talk. You got to bug us because you have to realize, especially people in California and Florida,
Mhm.
we get inundated because everybody says, "Oh, I want to go somewhere warm," especially swimmers. And so, and they'll look at our roster and see a freestyler that goes 56. Well, that's not their best event. You know what I mean? So you need to look at the conference times and you need to be smart about that. You need to look at where you can help a team. If you're going to come in at the bottom, we're probably not going to reach out that much to you. You know, if you're going to come in the middle, we're going to reach out. If we're somebody at the top, we're going to really reach out. So just know that you need to be in the top 8 or the top 16 in your conference to get looked at. I mean, right now I have 4 breaststrokers. Okay. I have 4 breaststrokers that are 59-1 or better. That's not going to happen all the time. But I need butterflyers or I need sprint freestylers, So my sprint freestylers might not be that fast, but I still need to recruit kids that are going to score. I don't need a bunch of more sprint freestylers that aren't going to do well for me. You know what I mean? Like that aren't going to get
Gotcha.
better. So if it's a California kid, I'm going to take a chance on him, probably more likely than a kid out of state, you know. But you got to be able to help us in some shape or form. So if you're not fast enough, you got to convince me that you're going to help me training wise or school wise or personality wise or something like that.
Nice, nice. No, that was good insight. I feel like that's one of the neglected things that athletes don't take the time to do is like research their school, research the conference, and see what type of stats are being put up, and then measure your stats or your metrics to theirs, and it kind of gives you an idea of, okay, do I belong in this conference? Do I belong with this program, or do I need to shift my focus elsewhere? So I feel like that's a very
Especially in
underrated thing.
swimming and track and we're really stat oriented,
Right.
and so you can look and say, ooh, I'm not even going to make top 24,
Uh,
then maybe, but then you have the kids that want to go to the Power Four schools and they aren't even going to make a travel squad. I mean,
yeah.
I'm happy with these travel squads now, these 30 for our swimming, because some of these big teams had like 50 kids on their team. Those 20 kids never saw the day of light, but they wanted to go to a Power Four
Yeah.
school
Big
and
school.
they never contributed, and that's sad. You want to give, you want to be a part of something.
All right. All right. No, I agree. All right. A couple more. So parents, for parents, what's the most constructive role they can play during the recruiting process?
Well, it's revolving now. I think we're getting more parents that are coming on trips, and I like it, to be honest with you, because I like to see the interaction between the kid and the parent. And so that is really good, but let the recruit be a recruit with all the other kids and let them stay in the dorms. Parents stay in the hotel, let them do that. You can come to dinners, but on Saturday, let them go to the football game with the team. Let them, go. We take them to the lake, and go boating, and I tell the parents, go explore, go to Yosemite, go to, all these great places that we have around, and see what we have around Fresno that we can't take you to, but
Mhm.
you can go on your own. So I think the first day, the meetings, getting to know the parents, it's great. And just letting your kids know financially what you can afford. You got to be honest with your kid. I mean, if they're looking at private schools and it's going to cost $68,000 to go to school there, you got to tell your kid how I can't pay that,
All right.
so you got to be honest with the child, and they're not a child, they're a junior, senior in high school. You got to let them know what you can afford, what you can't afford. And, now everyone, nobody's a guaranteed full ride,
All right.
we don't have NIL money here.
Mhm.
We do a little bit because I donated money. I mean,
I
I
know.
made money on a side job and I donated, but that's for my kids that are going to get 4.0s, or
All right.
that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to give them to, or if they win conference.
Mhm.
But I don't have 10,000 extra dollars. Some kids are going to get 30%, some kids are going to get 60, some kids are going to get 80, some kids are going to be walk-ons.
Yeah.
It's just the way of the game, and but you have to let your child know what you can afford, and so that they are really honest with that.
No, that was good feedback. That's good. So, and I feel like a lot of parents have to understand that too. A lot of them are like, "Oh, my kid wants to go here," but it's a lot of cost associated with that too. And even in sports world, like even with baseball, like we didn't all get full rides. So I had to do a lot of scraping and scrapping to, piece together other scholarships, either
Right.
academically or, whatever I could do to make sure that everything was paid for. So I feel like that's a big misconception with
Right.
athletics, college athletics. I feel like everybody sees the big programs, football, basketball, power five schools, and they feel like, oh, those free, oh, not free, but those full rides, are for everybody, every program. But that's not the case.
No, it's not the case. Us
Uh,
Olympic sports are just scraping along. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, last question. I appreciate you so far. This one's kind of revolving NIL, and how I know you mentioned a little bit that you guys don't do NIL. Are you guys like educating on NIL? Are you looking to inform the athletes more or incorporate it into your program? Or even what would you tell athletes now that may see NIL and feel pressure to be like, oh, I have to be this NIL athlete? Like, what is your take on it? And where are you at with your
Well,
program?
I'm old, so this
Hmm.
NIL stuff is just all new to me. I
Hmm.
think, I mean, it should have happened 40 years ago, let the kids work, let the kids, be able to,
Learn.
get stuff. So we educate them here. We have out I don't even know what it's called. Open doors. So we
Okay.
do have open doors and we do educate them that at the beginning of the year, they come in and they talk to them. We're going to do like a little 45-minute, you know, introduction and we have a whole office that's trying to help kids with NIL and
Mhm.
probably more football, basketball,
Excuse me.
volleyball, probably are taking a little more advantage of it than we are. But I have girls that, are on TikTok or whatever.
Mhm.
They're doing their favorite sports drink or their favorite, swimsuit or whatever. And so they're doing it. I really don't keep track of it. I let another office do that. I don't really want to have anything to do with it. Um, Probably isn't helping my recruiting because I'm not involved in it, but I just don't know enough about it. I don't know how to go about doing it. And I'm going to let the people that know how to do it help our kids. So we have some, we don't have any big endorsements or anything like that. Most of our stuff, here we go again. I lost
Nice.
my lights.
All good.
But we, most of our stuff is going to be, you know, um, the rev generation, the rev sharing. And that's kind of what I've concentrated on because I have a lot of donors and I have a lot of people that we can get some, rev share going. And that's what I'm trying to concentrate on.
Okay, nice. No, that's good feedback. I know it's interesting just hearing from different coaches and programs, just seeing where everybody is, because it's even though it's been past what like 3 going on 4 years now, it's still the Wild West. I felt like every week or every month they're coming out with some
New
new
rule.
regulation proposal or rule reversal or something. So I felt like they're still trying to figure it out. And even myself, like once I graduated 2018, and of course, NIL came into effect like 2021. So really dove into it and tried to learn as much as I could. And I'm even still learning to this day. And we do a decent job of supporting athletes, at the youth level, high school level, and college level, but it's still a lot of gray area. It's not, very definitive on what's going on or the even the trajectory of it. So, I mean, I feel like each year we're just having to constantly learn and grow and figure out how
Right.
to implement it into our program. So, but that's cool to hear that you guys have uh, an office dedicated to that, and even Open Doors. I'm familiar with that platform, and I feel like that's one of the biggest platforms in the market right now. So, it's
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool to
we
see
we
that.
use that as a department and that helps the kids the most. So, and I
Okay.
think that that's it's better for them to help than me. I don't know
Mhm.
enough. So, I know my box and I stay in my box. Yeah.
I understand. Well, I appreciate you for the call. And I do want to ask a couple questions off the record just for feedback and just just to continue to grow and so I guess one would kind of be a follow-up for the NIL. Would you be open to me possibly me hosting like a webinar for your athletes just to go over some of the things that I've learned through just NIL branding helping out athletes?
I don't know if I can with open
Okay.
doors because we
Oh,
have
okay, yeah,
that
with them as
contract.
the contracts.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries, no worries. And then another thing that I've been working on doing because I'm a younger guy. I'm big into tech. I would like to consider myself innovative, but I have been recently working on like curating and putting together some virtual showcases and just events and opportunities where coaches could potentially scout athletes that usually aren't in their region or on their radar, and then opportunity for athletes to get in front of coaches that, they may not have been able to get in front of if they're not traveling, which I'm not 100% sure on the swimmers recruiting scene. I'm not sure if you guys also do, like showcase events or travel to different tournaments where, a lot of recruits are expected to be, but our team is working on putting together like different events, or one would be a Zoom. I know it doesn't sound enticing because a lot of coaches want to see the athlete in action, but they'll
Right,
have highlight videos and stuff for that. But this is more of a platform to kind of like you mentioned earlier to see the player's personality, to
right.
allow them to get on a Zoom call similar to this where we're all in one group and then you could see them present themselves, kind of like I guess athlete meets Shark Tank type deal where the
Uh-huh.
coaches are the Shark Tank panelists, and then the athletes will get on there and have 3 to 5 minutes to pitch themselves, their experiences, their goals, or whatever they present. And how could you give me some feedback on that? Do you feel like that would
I mean, it sounds
give some
very
feedback?
interesting. I don't know if it would be really successful for swimmers because we're
Okay.
so time oriented.
All right.
And so, yes, we go to certain meets. We're at junior nationals, we're at senior nationals, we're at
Okay.
our zone qualifiers, our, sectional meets in California. We have those meets, pretty
Okay.
mapped out and all the coaches go, that would probably be where you would want to be, to try to get some of these kids signed up to get on your recruiting, whatever. So,
Okay. That's good feedback. That's something that I like to ask the coaches that I'm interviewing to see. Just get the feedback. It's all about
right.
feedback and seeing how to tailor it and model it. But that's something that I've been thinking about and planning to execute and work on. And I've gotten mixed reviews, mixed responses. So I just like to get the feedback and continue to tweak it and work it. And hopefully, I can put together an event that would be beneficial for all parties involved. So, no, thank you for the feedback.
No, well, thank you for taking the time and I wish you luck in your venture. I always want to help young people that are really trying to better themselves and make something go. So good luck.
Thank you so much, Coach Fleck, and I appreciate you. And I'll have our team take this and they'll edit it, chop it up, make it look good, and add some nice branding. And if you want, I could send some of the content to you first, if you want to review it before it's posted, or
No, I'll trust
let
you,
me
I
know.
hope. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, so I won't do anything to jeopardize you or make the school's name look bad or anything. But no, we'll put together some good content and highlight you and put you in a good spotlight.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Thank you. And you have a good
Okay,
rest
good
of your
luck,
day.
Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
All right, bye.